I believe that Endymion actually reported my YouTube channel. I believe that. But before I talk about that, I have to explain what happened and how I came to this conclusion, and my thoughts on YouTube's terms of service application and why it is uneven and false claims happen, apparently. So you're seeing a post in front of you that is a repost of something that I posted. It's a lot of posting that I posted earlier today. It's a screenshot of a tweet from a particular individual. I had to cover that up, apparently, here. And I called it out as being a really stupid take. Right? That's what I did. That's what I do. We all do it. We all do this. It was one individual post. It's from Twitter. It's not even from YouTube. And there was no tagging of anybody in the post. There was no, I didn't post anything where I said, go target this person, go harass this person, go mass report their channel. Nothing like that happened. This is literally a repost of what I did with an edit. One community post. Within 2 hours time from posting this on my channel, which has less than 3,000 subscribers, somehow there was enough reports on this post for YouTube to go over and look at it and then falsely give me a terms of service violation strike. And I say falsely because we're going to look at what they consider harassment. And even if we look outside of what they consider harassment, one post calling out something stupid from Twitter with no interaction with that person, I don't think that falls under harassment, especially considering the kind of content they place on their channel. So let me tell you why it's extremely unlikely that a bunch of people, like 100, 200 people, flagged this post all at the same time and YouTube came over and looked at it within 2 hours and took it down. The reason why I find that unlikely is unless it was some coordinated thing where somebody on Discord or Twitter or Reddit or something were like, go over and flag this post. I don't think it would have been, I don't think YouTube would have even looked at it. If you go and you report something, like one person reports something, YouTube doesn't typically look at it that quickly. There's documented history of YouTube ignoring reports when it comes from a small number of people. So I don't think that happened. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But you know what does make a lot of sense? If somebody with a very large channel who probably has some connections to YouTube reports a post and gives additional context to YouTube on why the post would be considered harassment or bullying. That's really the only way that this would have happened. Unless, again, there was some mass campaign and YouTube didn't even look at the post and just gave me a strike. I don't know. I don't believe that. I feel like that's unlikely. It's more likely to me that the person who felt like they were the target of the subject matter ran to YouTube and then complained about it. That makes the most sense. But here's the deal. With people like Endymion or anybody else here on YouTube that does commentary, we're essentially public figures. When you reach a certain level of viewers on YouTube, you're essentially public figures. You're making content, you're a public figure. We should be able to make comments about each other and not have to go around going after channels that are saying negative things about us, unless you want to just respond to it, which is fine. I can't tell you the amount of people that have made negative videos about me that were awful, and I never went over and did anything to their channels. I didn't even comment on the videos. Most of the time, I don't even respond to the videos. But I guess now, like, these kinds of posts, when somebody makes them, it's time to go over and report them, even though there's literally no violation there. There's none. So I'm swinging towards the idea that somehow the person who felt like they were the target of the criticism decided to feed a bunch of shit to YouTube, and YouTube did it because it's a much smaller channel. But let's take a look here. I want to take a look at what YouTube themselves considers harassment, right? Bullying and harassment. Content that contains prolonged insults, which my post did not. It was one singular post, like a sentence and a half, calling out how dumb this take was. Which, by the way, the humor of a black person being in a promotional poster for a show about World War II, there's no humor in that. There's a series of posters. That's why I said this was dumb. Because it is. And only people with extremely low intelligence would find this funny. Unless it's racist, right? If it's racist, I guess that entire community would just be like, yeah, this is funny. So the two things are you're either really stupid or you're racist. That's the only way you would find a joke like this funny. I'm not saying this about him, obviously, because then, YouTube would come after me probably. So content that contains prolonged insults or slurs based on someone's intrinsic attributes. I never did that. These attributes include their protected group status. We're going to look at that in a second. Physical attributes, never did that. Or their status as a survivor of SA, never did that. Non-consensual intimate imagery distribution, never did that. Domestic abuse, never did that. CA, none of that. The post was none of that. It literally was calling this person out for this extremely dumb tweet. Which, again, why would YouTube... No one was tagged in this. So why would YouTube consider this harassment? Why? One post, no tags, no call to action from Twitter. It's a little sketchy to me. Actually, a lot sketchy to me. But let's take a look at the Endymion's channel quickly. So this is Endymion's channel, and let's look at some of his videos here. Wow, I mean, he's really going hard on like Sweet Baby Inc. People involved with Sweet Baby Inc. Probably made a ton of videos about them. Multiple videos. Dragon Age, the folks over there, yeah. Wokeness, gay people. He's got a history of making some like really negative videos about entire communities. Entire communities. Look at this over here. Sweet Baby Defenders demand you reject Warhammer 40K, and woke freaks call Space Marines 2 fascists. So he's got, look, dead, ruined. Man, he makes a lot of videos that, oddly enough, go against YouTube's hate speech policy. That's interesting. Like, look, gender identity and expression, nationality, race, sex and gender, sexual orientation. Huh, that's interesting. But my individual singular post, not in violation of any of the things listed in their policy, somehow that post got taken down and I got hit with a community guidelines violation. There's an inconsistency to how YouTube applies its terms of service. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you do it across the board fairly for everybody, I have no issue with that. If you're like, this thing is not allowed, and then everyone that did this thing got in trouble for it, okay, fair enough. So, false. It was a false situation, a false report that got my little channel in trouble. So then I reposted it, covering up names and pictures with a very similar criticism, and it's there. So why in the world was the other one taken down? Why did I get in trouble for that when I didn't break any rules? I thought we had like an understanding on YouTube doing what we do, where everybody sort of gets to criticize each other. I fully believe in this scenario, based on everything I've looked at, that it had to have been a large channel with some connections that decided to go in and go after my specific community tab post. It had like 5 thumbs up on it and 3 comments. There's no way, absolutely no way, that picked up enough traction, that was reported enough times, that YouTube looked at it and then decided that something that didn't break their rules was in violation, to the point where I got in trouble for it and the post was removed. Something doesn't add up. The math doesn't math. But it's really interesting to me that these guys who have proven time after time that they know they're breaking the rules, They know they're violating guidelines. They've admitted that they're violating guidelines. Some of them even admitted that their channels were getting struck for stuff that they've done, and they thought their channels were going to be removed because they know that they violated guidelines. They know this. They know they've crossed the line. And they're still around. But a small channel like mine posts something not even in violation, simply talking critically about these guys, and somehow I get a community violation for that. Community guidelines violation for that. That's really weird to me. It's really weird. I'm curious to see where this is going to go and what happens from here with YouTube, because these guys must consider what I'm doing to be threatening to them, even though I'm a tiny little channel, to even bother to come over and mess with my channel. So that makes me feel very powerful in a way.